Hey everybody, what's going on? Emotep is here and back with another Final Fantasy starter deck, set review. Today we're doing the Final Fantasy XIII Custom Starter set. It's been a while since we did one of these. We kind of missed the. It's been a while since we got one of these, right? Technically, our first custom starter was the Final Fantasy X one, which I think was amazing. It was very useful. Brought a lot to the meta, even though it was quickly overshadowed by the next set. I think this one comes at a good time though, and I think this one will make a little more impact than that one. We have a lot of floating 13 cards that have a lot of potential, and I think this one will definitely bring it all together. But just a quick highlight on the product itself. Here you got the main starter, and then the 50 cards to adjust it with. This little pamphlet here just tells you how you can make changes and how you can make it your own, customize it if you will. And of course, an updated rulebook with relevant cards to what you're playing. Kind of get the basics of the rules and stuff. So, as always, those are very useful for new players. But yeah, we have the Lightning starter deck, which is 50 cards ready to play, and then you have these extra piles of cards that is just going to be what you can interchange. The possibilities are fire lightning or fire ice, I believe is the best way to go. I guess technically you can go ice lightning in this as well, but realistically you need some of the fire cards, I think. As always, don't forget that you have a little slip here to kind of open things. It took me a little while, so I made a quick edit there. That's the fastest way to open these little sleeves, so you don't manhandle them or damage any of the cards. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. We have, even in the latest set, Final Fantasy XIII has had a few cards that were, homeless. And after playing this list with these cards already just a few games, I can see the potential in it. So I'm very excited for this and to see how it affects our current meta, our current weapon triangle meta, as we've said before in our podcasts. But yeah, we have Lightning, Vanille, that was a new Fang, and a Bahamut on the fire side. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these. Alright, so Lightning, 2 cost, 13 with haste, 7k. When one or more category 13 forwards you control attacks, all the forwards gain 1000 power until the end of turn. If 2 or more attack, you draw a card. And if 3 or more attack this turn, deal your opponent a point of damage. This Lightning is going to be your bread and butter. There is no way around it. Kind of like how the Titus was crucial to the FF10 deck. This Lightning is going to be crucial, I think, to most of the new 13 decks. She's going to be able to plug and play into just about any variant, as far as I can tell. Currently, the floating ideas are OTK based or very aggressive builds, and she facilitates that. Right? She not only lets them attack and get power and kind of help swing over things, but effectively, the more you attack in a turn, the more value you get. So anywhere after the second forward attacks, you'll be drawing cards every additional attack. So you could go handless and effectively recoup your whole hand in one turn. Lightning is going to be very important, and since she has haste, you don't actually have to drop her alongside everybody at the beginning. You would drop her along after your board is set up, and you have a few forwards that can attack and stuff. So next is the Vanille. The Vanille is going to be also very important, but so she's EX Burst. When she enters the field, you may search for a card named Lightning, card named Fang, or card named Hope. And then she has an S that all the forwards your opponent controls, if they're dealt damage, double that damage instead. It doesn't specify, so effect special summon. And then additionally, she'll deal 2,000 all their forwards, which in fact will make it 4,000. But yeah, just the fact that this box has a few searchers already in it. We need this to get to the Fang and the Lightning. The Hope would be for a different deck, I think, because there's a lot of floating Hopes out there. But still, a very strong card, and we love that it's EX Burst, obviously. Yeah, I think she's definitely going to see a lot of play for these kinds of lists. Again, it's very up in the air how many variants will be made from this, or could be made, and then some that are successful and some that are not, right? But between this and the Lightning and the Opus 18 Fang, you have a solid base. Next is the Fang. So when Fang attacks, she has haste as well. When Fang attacks during this turn, the cost required to cast your next card Bahamut is reduced by 2. when you cast a fire summon, activate Fang. If Fang gains, if Fang deals damage to your opponent, the damage becomes 2 instead until the end of the turn. Now, yeah, just Fang's always been related to the Bahamut cards. We've had others in the past, and so we've been able to, try to build that deck in the past. But this one is really helpful. I don't think this one will make its way into certain builds, but I think it will independently have a home for itself because of both of its abilities, right? Being able to make Bahamut cards reduced and dealing extra points of damage in a single attack is always very useful. So we do have a new Bahamut in this set too, which we'll cover in just a sec, and it's very interesting with this Fang. But like I said, we have Caius, Choco Chick, Lebro, all 13 characters, Zaz, and that's it for the fireside. The Bahamut and the Brynhilders are nice too. Brynhilder reprints are very good. I think some people, they're still slightly overpriced, I think. But yeah, Bahamut, if you control 3 or more category 13 characters, the cost required to cast Bahamut is reduced by 3. And then you can choose a forward, deal it 10k. If it is put from the field of the break zone, remove it from the game instead. Between this and the Fang, you could effectively make it free, which is interesting, right? Because neither effect say that cannot be 0 or whatever. So you can reduce it by 2, in total reduce it by 3, right? Reduce it by 5. And so that's kind of the synergy that Fang provides to this. And this is kind of some of the stuff that I was saying that, and dealing 10k and removing is very, very strong. And we like that very much. But this is the kind of utility that this deck has. You have a little bit of everything from the drawing from Lightning, searching from Vanille, and then reduction and removal from Fang and Bahamut. So that just wraps up the fireside. Next we have the Lightnings. We have a few cards, and we'll start off with the Sid Reigns here. When Sid Reigns enters the field, choose a forward of cost 4 less your opponent controls, break it. At damage 3, Sid Reigns gains 1000 power and first strike, and at 5 damage, when he attacks, choose a forward your opponent controls, break it. So more spot removal, which is very great, and kind of just an overall nice boss monster. If you're familiar with the Opus 18 Fang, this could effectively be a 4-cost 9k with tons of cool effects. And yeah, just overall very, very, very savage, I think. Very good start. I've never seen Sid Reigns in this form. If anybody knows anything about that, please drop it in the comments for me. I've never played 13, so, let me know why or how he gets like this. But yeah, just an overall solid card, I think. Next, we have the Null. He has another haste, which is a recurring thing for these decks. When Null attacks, until the end of the turn, Null gains 1000 power for each category 13 character you control. And when a forward your opponent controls leaves the field, choose a forward and dull it. So, yeah, again, everything in here is pretty much 13. That includes your backups, and his effect will reflect that, right? So if he attacks and you have 2 backups and another one, he's going to go to 8k, or 9k, I think, right? Because he does count himself until the end. Null gains 1000 power for each category character you control, right? So even if he attacks by himself on turn 1, he becomes a 6k. So very, very potential to be very strong. Accompanied by the Lightning, he's gonna be he can jump to 9k, I think, if my math's right. 1, 2, 3, and then yeah. Next is the Hope. If you control 5 or more category 13 characters, Hope gains 1000 power, and when he enters the field, select when Hope enters the field, select one of the following 2 actions: search for a category 13 forward, add it to your hand, or choose an active forward until the end of the turn. It loses 1000 power for each 13 character you control. Again, more utility. Another searcher, and then some reduction, right? Because sometimes things can't take damage or whatever past their turn, Minwu effects and things like that. And so this is a good way around that stuff. Again, a lot of variety. Anima, Maki, and Lumina is another searcher here, and then a couple just few little interesting cards. Overall, this Fire Lightning side is already pretty strong in my opinion. I think it has a lot of potential to, be, with a few minor adjustments, be out of the box ready. And then the other side we have the Snow Sarah and Mog 13, Orphan, and a couple other interesting cards. I think this Lightning is fun. I guess technically with this Lightning you could make a Lightning Ice variant, but what's cool is that we did get the Opus 1 Bahamut legendaries and the Ice, what's his name, Brandelius, I my biggest thing with these starters is they don't provide enough value sometimes, aside from the newer cards. But I like it when they throw in extra legendaries like these. So this was very refreshing. And although they don't see too much play currently, I wonder if things will change now as we explore this Category 13 starter a lot. Next is the Snows. If you control card named Lightning, Snow, and Lightning, you control gain. This character cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons. And when Snow enters the field, your opponent can discard a card, or you can choose up to 3 characters. And if you control a card named Sarah, dull them and freeze them. Decent effects. I think this one might be a little more specific, but might get overshadowed by the other Snows, I think. And then same thing with this Sarah and the Mog. So Sarah, EX burst, when it enters the field, you may search for one card named Mog, 13 of cost 1, and add it to your hand. When a job Moogle enters the field, choose up to 2 characters, dull them, or activate them. This effect will only trigger once per turn. She has an S that you could choose a forward and deal it 8,000. Between the Snow and the Sarah and the Mog 13, my biggest issue is the name conflict. And I think that's something we'll have to, uncover as we go into deck building. Next is the Mog 13 that's searchable with the Sarah. The card named Sarah you control cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. And choose a Category 13, it gains 2,000 power until the end of turn. You can only use this ability once per turn, and it's free. So, it's just an action ability that's free. Very helpful. Again, I want to highlight the utility in this list, in these cards, because some of them are weaker. Like, for example, even the Null attacks and bumps himself. He starts off at 5k, so being able to give things an extra 2k could potentially keep him out of the break zone, if you will. But yeah, guys, that wraps up the Category 13 custom starter set. I think it's fantastic. After playing it a little bit, these lightnings are very, very, very strong. So expect to see it at your locals within the next few weeks. Please share your thoughts on it. As for me, this is 100% must buy. I think it's going to be relevant enough, even if it's isolated to the Category 13 stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Happy building and happy 3rd custom starter set day. Take care, everybody.